in the chat too. Please feel free to unmute, ask questions, type in the chat. If anything's confusing or there is something specific you want to address, feel free to let us know. So I was going to start off with a little icebreaker, but right now it's just us. So really, who was on the struggle bus? And this was me going to ask how many of us feel we are 11 weeks in this semester. So feel free to put in a chat, give me a here, that sounds like me, but who is feeling overwhelmed? Who is worried about their academics? Who might feel like they've had a hard time focusing on their well-being, their health, or who might be dealing with some kind of, she's like, oh, that's me. That would be me. All of the things. So really, this program, and we'll go a little bit into it, is really to help students, especially those first-year students. Could you share with me in the chat if you're a first-year freshman or are you an incoming transfer student? Well, let me know in the chat if you're considered a freshman or transfer. But knowing that students, as they transition to Rutgers, whether it's as a first-year student right out of high school or as a transfer student coming from another university or community college, first-year student, graduating 2020, initially matriculated fall 2020 and couldn't handle it. I'm trying again this year. Okay. So with this piece here, and knowing kind of the challenges associated with that you may have had experience in the past, really EOF is an opportunity to provide that additional support so that you can be successful in your journey. So how does EOF help? How does EOF support students to getting off of the struggle bus to better balance and succeed in the various aspects of student success in the ways that our students want to be successful? So what success and support looks like from the program are these following things: information sharing, help seeking, assistance, helping them navigate systems, right? Providing some direction and helping students kind of come to their own conclusion in that direction. Providing workshops and programming and community and support. So these are a lot of kind of abstract kind of ideas here, but these are just a broad idea of what support will look like. And I'm going to go a little bit more into the nitty gritty of what those supports look like and some examples that we've been able to do this semester for students. But I want to first start off, before we get into the nitty gritty of what these supports look like for students, to just briefly touch upon what is EOF, what is this program? So EOF is a New Jersey state funded program, and we're really here to help support those students who are low income and first generation. So like I mentioned, EOF provides students with personal and academic support through their entire college experience here in Rutgers-Camden. So that's done through one-on-one meetings with an assigned counselor. Also with workshops and different events and programs that we host. That's how we provide these different services. EOF also helps students by providing a little bit of economic support in the form of a grant each semester. So why EOF? Why might this be the support that you need as a student? How could this help you and benefit you? So access to EOF exclusive workshops and programs designed to help students successfully and personally reach their goals. To reach their personal, academic, and professional goals is one of the highlights and services that we do for this program. So if you're a student, and I know you mentioned that would be me, I'm on the struggle bus, I'm struggling academically, or maybe you're struggling to connect this semester, we're emerging out of the pandemic, and maybe you're feeling like sense of connectedness isn't there for you, or you're struggling with how to engage with faculty, right, and build those professional connections. Our program, EOF, make sure that we provide opportunities with our workshops that are typically exclusive to EOF students so that they can learn the skills and gain the access to be able to take on those specific challenges in terms of their academics, networking, professional development. We also offer a small knit kind of sense of community for students. So often we hear from our scholars that they enjoy making the friendships and making the connections with fellow EOF students who are coming from similar experiences that they're coming from, right? Who they can relate to, who they can lean on for accountability and support. And then probably the most important thing that most of our students, when they cross that stage for graduation, we had graduation last week and we got to see some of our scholars. often they say that one of the reasons why EOF had helped them be successful and helped them overcome some of the challenges they were dealing with in their transition was that one-on-one counseling support, because these counselors helped the students navigate any struggles they were having in terms of academics, in terms of their well-being, in terms of managing the different systems and offices, from financial aid to registering for classes, to knowing about the different policies when it relates to taking on a minor, or if they need to withdraw from classes. All of this can feel really new and complex, and having that one-on-one counselor there that you can lean on for support really is at the heart of our program. So here are some of the services and the why. So workshops, you may be thinking workshops, and are you talking about academic workshops, and what does that exactly look like? So I wanted to pull some of the workshops that we've really held just this month alone. So some of the workshops we do are really focused on that sense of community. So if we look to the left, the movie night, being able to interact with other students and peers, build those friendships, kind of focus on that well-being and de-stress. We also hold financial literacy workshops in EOF. So making sure that you as a student are taking care of your holistic self, and that includes your financial well-being as well. We don't want you to leave Rutgers-Camden and not have the tools to be financially successful once you start working and obtaining your career of choice. We also offer workshops around well-being more broadly. So we have a workshop that just happened yesterday around social anxiety. We've done workshops around managing stress. We've done workshops with coworkers over in the Wellness Center. So we do put a big proponent in making sure that you are handling the mental and physical stresses that college and work and being involved and family stuff happening at home, that can be a lot to balance. So making sure that we're supporting students and giving them tools and strategies so that they can navigate all of those pieces and still be successful in their academics. We also make sure that we have workshops that are focused on career, postgraduate success, whether that is graduate school. We have a graduate retreat happening this weekend, or helping students connect with different employers, making sure that they have their professional documents, whether that's resume or interviewing skills. So there's such a breadth of workshops that we provide our students, exclusively to our students, so that they can be successful, so that they can be champions in achieving the dreams and goals that they're trying and set forth for themselves here on campus. Here's a video that talks a little bit more about this. I'm going to wait on the video, and I'll make sure I'll come back to this at the end and I'll share this with you. But I know you're probably interested in learning more about how do I apply for this program. So I want to make sure that we get there first. So eligibility and application. So you may be thinking, all of this sounds great. I want to be able to access these benefits. I want to get off this struggle bus. How do I do that? So really are two key components, and Randy, let me know if there's anything off of this, is you need to be a resident of New Jersey for at least 12 months, immediately preceding enrollment. You also need to be a new student at the institution. And then lastly, you have to have a family income that falls within the established income kind of bracket. So we share this here, and this is not a like steadfast rule. If students are a little bit over this, we still encourage them to go ahead and apply, but this is essentially a rough estimate to help students understand what the economic and income requirements are to be in this program. And it's based on household, your gross income within that household, and the asset cap. So these are going to be the essential requirements that are going to gauge your eligibility to be in EOF. And Randy just put the link to the application here. And I have that later on, but I want to talk a little bit first about financial verification. So those are the specific requirements. So the first thing you want to do if you say, hey, I think I meet those requirements, is you're going to want to submit an application, which Randy put the application in the chat. You can access it there. And once you submit that application, we'll get a record of that, and then we'll be able to follow up with you to let you know that it was received. Once that's received, that will be all those students who submitted applications will be submitted to financial aid to go through what we call financial verification. So I want to be honest, financial verification can be complex, right? Depending on the student, depending on their financial aid and the FAFSA, what they submitted. So what financial verification essentially is students end up being almost, they want to verify that the information you put on your FAFSA is accurate and that you meet the income eligibility requirements. So I have this here. So to be reviewed, especially if you're a new student coming in, what financial verification will look like for you is they want to review your family's 2018 and 2019 income. So financial aid will go, and before you get into the EOF program, they're going to review that and make sure that you meet those state eligibility requirements. So the steps that are kind of involved is first you need to confirm that the data that you reported on your FAFSA and NJFAMS is accurate, and to resolve any kind of conflicting information that's on that. And financial aid will work with each of the students once they open up to make sure, hey, this is what your FAFSA is telling us. Here are the documents we need to confirm that information. And that typically includes verifying your family's 2019 income, their assets, their household size, and you'll be asked to send these documents in. Some of them are internal forms, some of them are documents that you need to retrieve from the IRS. Once all those forms are submitted in and reviewed, financial aid would then determine if you are eligible to be a part of the program. So the one thing that I do want to share about financial verification is that this financial verification can take a couple weeks. So we want to make sure that if you are opened up for financial verification, that you are responding to the financial aid emails and to the emails from those of us in EOF so that you can begin the process of getting those documents in and becoming verified. So some documents you may be able to go and complete right away. We suggest as soon as you can complete a document to submit that in. Other documents you may need to retrieve from the government or retrieve from other entities like maybe Social Security offices or so on and so forth. That may take a week or may take 2 weeks to come in the mail if it's something that needs to be mailed home. So we just want to make sure if you're applying to EOF and once you get opened up for financial verification, you are as early as you can, as soon as possible, going through this financial verification process because we want to make sure that you get these documents in a timely fashion. And Randy shared a link here that kind of goes over the financial verification so that you can have a better understanding of that piece. So here's what the timeline will look like essentially. We're asking students to make sure that they submit their application in for this wave by November 22nd. So if they submit their application in then, we will review them. We will make sure that those names get submitted to financial aid. Financial aid will then take those students and they will open them up. We say open them up for financial verification. So they can go through this process to get verified on their eligibility. That will happen roughly somewhere within the week of November 29th. Once you're opened up for financial verification, you will get an email from financial aid. You will also, in that email from financial aid, it won't say financial aid, it'll say Scarlet Hub. It's like an automated message, but it'll say, hey, you have new documents that need to be submitted. You can go into that link, click it up, and it will outline what documents you need to submit. You can go access those documents, download those documents, and start submitting those documents. We ask that all students have all of their documentation submitted by January 10th, 2022. So that's roughly the timeline that students are going to be looking at in terms of when they apply to when they have to have all of their documents submitted in financial aid so that they can be verified to see if they can be eligible for the program.